Global interstate system. It is the whole system of human interactions. The modern world system is structured politically as an interstate system, a system of competing and allying states. Political scientists commonly call this the international system, and it is the main focus of the field of international relations.
In global interstate system, there are strengths and weaknesses. Strength: it will make travelers cheaper, faster, and better. Weaknesses: impose long-term costs on the country. Countdown on the competition between shippers and the passenger carriers. Rising competition of gasoline lead to air pollution and the dependence on oil that affected and customer and foreigner policy for generation to come.
Institutions that governs international relations is the scientific study of interactions between sovereign states. In a broader sense, it concerns all activities between states, such as war, diplomacy, trade, and foreign policy and relations with and among other international actors, such as intergovernmental organizations or IGOs, international non-governmental organizations or INGOs, international legal bodies and multinational corporations or MNCs. International relations is widely considered a subdiscipline of political science. However, IR draws considerably upon international economics, international law, world history, and cultural anthropology. In the US, IR is frequently one and subfields within political science departments, but some academic institutions characterize it as an independent or multidisciplinary field. While international politics has been analyzed throughout much of history, IR did not emerge as a discrete field until turn of 20th century. Initially as an extension of political science, it was first distinguished as its own discipline in 1919, when it was offered as an undergraduate by major of Aberystwyth University in Wales. Over the next decade, similar studies were established at the University of Oxford and London School of Economics, which led to fail develop its independence and prominence.
Trade agreement. Any contractual arrangement between states concerning their trade relationships. Trade agreements may be bilateral or multilateral, that is, between two states or more than two states. Trade agreements are one way to reduce their barriers, thereby opening all parties to the benefits of increased trade. In trade agreement, there are import and export. Import are goods and services produced in a foreign country and bought by domestic residents. That includes anything shipped into the country, even if it's by the foreign subsidiary or domestic firm. If the consumer is inside the country's boundaries and the provider is outside, then the good or service is an import. Second will be export. Exports are goods and services that are made in country and sold outside its borders. That included anything shipped from a domestic company to its foreign affiliate or branch.
Three types of trade agreement. First, unilateral trade agreement. This occurs when a country imposes trades, restriction, and no other countries reciprocates. Country can also unilaterally loosen trade restrictions, but that rarely happens because it would be put the country at competitive disadvantage. The United States and other developed countries only do this a type of foreign aid in order to help emerging markets strengthen strategic industries that are too small to be a threat. It helps the emerging markets economies grow. Create new markets for U.S. exporters. Second, bilateral trade agreements. Bilateral agreements involve two countries. Both countries agreements to loosen trade restriction to expand business opportunity between them. They lower trips and confer preferred trade status on each other. The sticking point usually centered around the key protected to government subsidies. Domestic industries. For most countries, theirs are the automotive, oil, or food production industries. The Obama administration was negotiating the world's largest rental agreement, the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership with the European Union, but this stalled under the Trump administration. The last one is multilateral trade agreements. These agreements among three countries or more are the most difficult to negotiate. The greater the number of participants, the more difficult the negotiations. Are by nature, they are more complex than bilateral agreements, as each country has its own need and request. Once negotiated, multilateral agreements are very powerful. They cover a large geographic area which confers a greater competitive advantage on the signatories. All countries also giving each other most favored nation status, granted the best manual trade terms and lowest tariffs. The large multilateral agreement is the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement. That's all, thank you.
The importance of interstate system. The interstate system itself is the fundamental basis of the competitive commodity economy at the system level. Thus, the interaction of world market and state system is fundamental to an understanding of capitalist development and its potential transformation into a more collectively rational system. The global interstate system states that capitalism is best conceived in a peculiar combination of economic and political processes which operate at the level of the world economy as a whole. Thus, the interstate system is the political side of capitalism, not an analytically autonomous system, and its survival is dependent on the operation of the institutions which are associated with the capital accumulation process. The argument for this approach is made as a prelude to further discussion, theoretical clarity, and empirical research. The point of this project is to distinguish between theories which conceptualize the modern world in terms of economic and political subsistence and those which regard capitalism as a system in which political and economic processes can be understood to have a single integrated logic.